I hear they're having the tribute on Wednesday. Is that true?
I heard the tribute was last Sunday, actually.
No, no, not that tribute. The other tribute.
Oh, the tribute.
The tribute, yes.
The tribute to what?
Maybe it's a tribute to the tribute.
It's a tribute.
They found the face down in his waffles, maple syrup dripping from his fake roll.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Lager Room. It is Wednesday, October 21st, 2020. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Rhode Island's favorite son, Beer Samurai.
No, we've already straightened that out. Was not born in Rhode Island, and I'm by no means their favorite. Considering I was making fun of their beloved Patriots a little earlier.
All right, how about this then? New Jersey's favorite son that lives in Rhode Island, Beer Samurai.
There we go.
There we go.
There's still maybe a whole bunch in front of me, but
all right,
I'll take that for now.
There we go. That'll work. So how are you on this fine evening, sir?
Well, indoors. Ironically, took it indoors because if you remember a couple weeks ago, we had that near tornado that took a table off the roof.
Yes, I remember that. Too bad we weren't doing the video when that happened, because that would have been awesome.
That would have
Not
been
for
amazing.
you, just for me and watching the video.
Oh, no. I love inclement weather. Love that stuff.
There
And
you go.
no possibility of that going viral.
As long as it didn't take you off of the roof, that's fine, you know.
No, I was fine. The table didn't really survive too much. It's still sitting down in the courtyard.
Nobody's picked it up yet?
But in the irony of it, it is an absolutely beautiful day outside. I'm probably missing a wonderful sunset. But I do have the wonders of internet in the apartment now, so that'll be good for as the days get darker and colder. I will be inside and not freezing my tushy off
there
up
you
on
go.
the roof. So.
That is also a good thing. You don't want to do that now.
Yeah. Teeth chattering does not make for a good podcast.
Not at all. So on the Facebook Live earlier, a few minutes ago actually, but a couple days ago for anybody listening to this. Anyway, we were drinking a couple of beers. We had a minor little challenge that we put together, and it was a sports-related beer, not necessarily a beer that tastes like sports, because you wouldn't want to drink that. No, not at all. A beer that was either, in the name related to something or what have you. And I was drinking from Source Brewing, my go-to brewery, obviously, at this point, in Colts Neck, New Jersey, an Elite Tribute. And that would be their Eli Manning Tribute beer. They brewed that a little while back, and they released it just the one time. And they had said that they were going to re-release it once he enters the Hall of Fame. But, of course, they meant Canton, Ohio, the Professional Football Hall of Fame. However, this past Sunday, Eli Manning was honored with an induction into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. And they brewed the beer again now for that honor. And I'm sure they're going to once again brew it once he does go into the Professional Football Hall of Fame. And notice I said once he goes in, not if he goes in, when he goes in. So that's just my take. We can argue with that on the sports podcast, or you can write in and we can go back and forth on that if you have a different feeling. But anyway, back to the beer. I am drinking this Elite Tribute beer.
You said there were some tangerine notes to it.
Yeah, it's very juicy. It's like I said, it's on the Facebook Live. It's a hazy straw. It's not super opaque like a lot of New England's are, but it definitely tastes like them. It's a little. I'm not going to say it's filtered. It's not by no means filtered, but it's not super hazy. There's not like a ton of oats or anything in it. It is creamy though, but there's definitely tangerine notes. Getting berry. It's super light, super easy to drink. It's 8%. It does not taste like an 8% beer. It tastes more like it's less than the ABV of the beer you're drinking. So
why was it not 10%? That should have been 10%.
You would think that would have been something. But you know what? I mean, hey.
I guess the yeast didn't flocculate enough. One of my favorite brewing terms, flocculation, because it sounds dirty.
Flocculation.
Yeah, go flocculate yourself.
Flocculation.
Oh,
I'm sorry. We're talking about beer.
So the one I'm drinking is only 4.9. It is one of the couple session ales that Smug, my go-to brewery, because I can walk there in 5 minutes. It's a session IPA. We've got it is New England, so it is, you can't see through it. I can put my finger on the other side of the glass and I can't see my fingers. So that's a telltale sign right there. And
There are
the
some things
hops
you
are
want to be able to see through, but they really don't relate to beer. So
no. Are you back to flocculation?
maybe, I don't know. Continue. I'm
Maybe.
sorry.
So at any rate, this one has got it's got notes of grapefruit, peach. I'd have to say there's some peach in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe some tropical flavors. Tell you what though, this is my actually, it's become my go-to beer up here. Since I don't have a stock of boat beer, this has been what I pick up almost any time that I order whatever new thing they're releasing. I usually pick up a 4-pack of Nemesis along with it.
Gotcha.
So quite a tasty beer.
Not that I'm reviewing this beer right now. Maybe in the future, next week or the week after, maybe. But not even going to talk about that beer though. Your go-to beer obviously is Carton Boat. You're not able to get that all the time, obviously, or unless you come down here or somebody brings it up to you. Your go-to, obviously, at that point is Smug Nemesis. Obviously, you just said so.
Yep.
Mine, obviously, is Boat as well. And anytime I can't say that because I can get Boat whenever I want.
Yeah.
And it's easier for me to get to Carton than it is to get to Spellbound. But my second go-to, if you will, as Nemesis is yours, is a beer I reviewed a few weeks ago on one of the other podcasts, if you recall, Spellbound's Major Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
That's become my second go-to, if you will. And where I was going to with this was Spellbound just released last week their 2020 anniversary IPA. They did another New England. So it's, I guess, technically the second New England they did. But they released it, and I did pick up some this past Saturday. More on that in the later in the podcast. We'll discuss that then. But yeah, I see what you're saying with the you're not able to get your go-to, so your go-to up there is from a brewery that you've come to adopt as your own, and it's right around the corner from you, so why not?
Right, and it's a damn good beer. I really do enjoy it.
Well, that helps too.
So speaking of second, you've been talking about the second go-to. How about the second beer of the day?
The second beer of the day. Well, are you done with your first beer already?
You see me drink. You know how fast they go down.
Well, this is true, but you're drinking a 4.9. I'm drinking an 8.0. So,
with me, it also doesn't matter with ABV.
So you crush an 18% barrel aged stout?
I've been known to, yes.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know why I'm asking that.
The senpai, he's been brought up before. Leon has seen, because he's done it with me. We were actually in Cloverleaf Tavern. We were challenged to chug Worldwide Stout. We did very successfully for all of about 5 minutes, and then it hit. So when you're done nursing your beer.
No, I'm almost done. I was just asking if you were done. Well, the reason I said that was because we can mention the beers, but we wanted to talk about something about them. My second beer tonight is going to be probably my last Oktoberfest review of the season. It is from Zigmeister, which is a brewery in Hackettstown, New Jersey.
Matt,
Zig,
hey.
Kudos to Matt Ziegler for brewing this beer. It's awesome. We'll get to that when I pour it and give you the notes on it. It's just their Oktoberfest, so I'll be drinking that one. And what will you be drinking for your second beer?
I'm also drinking an Oktoberfest. Did I don't think I've drank this one before. It's back to Smug.
Right.
So I'm doing 2 Smugs and 1 podcast.
You're very smug tonight.
I'm very smug tonight. It makes me quite cocky. But
you said it.
Yes, yes. So it is Boktoberfest, which is interesting because it is an Oktoberfest. I'm cracking her open now. It's an Oktoberfest beer that does drink more like a Bock because it's got a sweetness to it. The color is like somewhere more around a Bock than it is a Marzen.
Interesting.
Now, what's funny is when we talk about Oktoberfest beers, everyone thinks Marzen, but there's also something called Fest beer, which tends to be a little lighter in color and a little lighter in body. And
sure.
Over at Oktoberfest, that's mostly what they're pouring is because, they want the people to get through the night because once they sit down, they're there all night long.
Yeah, they really don't move.
No, they don't move. They just drink, they sing, they eat pretzels and other food, and drink some more and continue to drink some more. So we were going to discuss a little bit about Oktoberfest. We've already done so, talking about the 2 different styles that you see. You know that at Oktoberfest, there's only 6 breweries that are sanctioned to make the Oktoberfest beers.
Why don't you tell us what those 6 breweries are?
I was going to actually have you guess. I think you can probably manage
All right,
this.
let me see if I can get. Let me see if I get some of them. Hold on, because I literally do not have this up in front of me. This is a complete guess.
Yeah, so
Uh,
don't pull it up. No cheating.
no. I'm gonna start with Hofbrau.
Bingo. Yep.
Here's one. Hacker Shore.
There you go. There's two. I'm going to give you a little help here to be able to brew an Oktoberfest beer. One, it has to be, of course, done via the Reinheitsgebot.
Of
You
course.
must be in compliance with Reinheitsgebot, and it must be brewed in Munich. You got to give. I'll give you another little hint. You got to don't go. Some of them don't go too beer nerdy on it. Some of these, America is known longer than some of the others.
I'm thinking Hacker Shore, Hofbrau. Oh, Spaten.
Okay, so there you go. So
All right.
John's got half the list.
Half the list.
He's got half the list here. The one that you're not really ever going to really think of when it comes to
Don't
Oktoberfest, because
don't say it. Don't say it until I'm done. Don't say it till I'm done.
Okay.
I'm trying. I'm gonna get. Give me three more guesses. If I don't get the three of them, if I get one of them, whatever. Give me three more guesses. Here we go.
Okay, three more guesses.
All right. Paulaner.
Paul Lanner, bingo. He's got Paul Lanner. Two to go.
Yeah, you know what? I'm done.
So the first one the one I was talking about that you don't really associate with us beer nerds don't really associate with good beer, but Germans do,
Okay.
and I'm sure the product over there is much better than what we get here. Lowenbrau.
Lowenbrau. Lion's
is
Brew.
the Lions Brew, absolutely.
Here's
the
to
other
good
one-
friends. Tonight is kind of special. The beer will
And-
hold. Must say something more somehow. So tonight, let it be Lowenbrau.
And the crowd
Takes you
goes
back,
crazy.
doesn't it? To when we were kids.
Okay. So the first beer is actually the first one alphabetically on the list. This was the toughest one, named after a saint, mind you. Augustiner.
Augustiner. Oh yeah, of course.
So of course, I'm drinking my smug Oktoberfest out of a Schneider Weiss glass that I picked up in an antique shop this weekend.
Nice.
Oh, it's a beautiful glass. I'll have to send you pictures of them.
Please do, definitely. If you see another one, just get it and send it to me.
I can go back and get the two. I got a set. There should be two more on the shelf. I'm going to have to go back and get those for you. I like going out to Shepatchet. And that wasn't a curse. That town's name is actually Shepatchet. So I know John knows a little bit of the history of Oktoberfest. You remember what the party was for, right?
The original celebration of Oktoberfest. It was a wedding, right?
It was a wedding, yes. Very good. King Ludwig and Princess Therese. As a matter of fact, the field.
Ludwig and Therese.
Ludwig and Therese. And the field was actually, the name was changed to Therese Weissen, I believe, was the name of the field. Now the Germans just call it Weissen.
Actually, it's Dweisen. There's a D
Dweisen.
apostrophe. It's Dweisen.
Yep, D apostrophe, Dweisen. Right, device with an N? I don't know. I don't speak German. You're part German, so we're gonna defer to you on that.
There you go.
Now that happened in 1810, I believe.
Yes, 1810.
1810, and it was punctuated by horse races and lots of drinking, and of course music and the wedding and eating and stuff. And it lasted 16 days.
Yes, it did.
So it rivaled a Ukrainian wedding. And they've been celebrating it ever since. And the reason we really wanted to talk about this tonight is, it starts in mid-September. It's called Oktoberfest, but it starts in mid-September, and it ends like one of the first couple of days of October.
It ends the first Sunday in October.
The first Sunday. However, what they've done is they've extended it to include October 3rd, because October 3rd they wanted to celebrate German Unification Day.
Yes.
So if it ends on the 1st or the 2nd, they extend it to the 3rd. So it can last as many as 18 days now.
Yeah, depending on when that first Sunday falls, it could be 17 or 18. It's not longer than 18, but it's 16, 17, or 18. So.
Yeah. But this year is the first year in all that time that it's not happened, I believe, because of COVID.
This is true.
And that is just, it's devastating. So it's the reason we wanted to bring it up and toast it, even though by this point, Oktoberfest would have been long done.
Long done, 20 days ago. Or
the hangovers are still raging probably at this point.
Or would be.
Think of the sheer volume. Now, this is where I had to take some notes. I had to write this down. 66,000 barrels of beer are served. That is the equivalent of 1.5 million gallons.
Yes, it is.
136 million pints.
It's a lot of beer. That's a lot of beer. And I
That is
mean,
a lot of beer.
to some people I know that's a weekend, but it's a lot of beer.
Hey, cheers, Gene.
There you go. So why don't you just pour your beer?
You're asking as if I haven't poured it already.
This is true. I'm silly. I'm just losing my mind that you haven't been like halfway through your beer already.
I'm a third of the way through it. It's funny because this thing has the nose feel of an Oktoberfest. It has the nose feel of a Marzen.
We are not going to rest until that gets put into the brewer's dictionary.
Yeah, let's get that. Let's get that going. But it's got the nose feel, so it's got that, the nuttiness of the malts that go into it. I'm not going to pretend to know what malts actually go into it, but like I said, it's got more of a mouth feel of a Bock. It's a little heavier. It's slightly sweeter than most Marzens. So I don't know if it was intended to be halfway between a Bock and a Marzen, because it's not truly halfway between. It's closer to a Marzen.
So it's a Boxen.
A Boxen. There we go. A Boxen.
Or a Morlock.
Morlock. Didn't they live underground? Oh, those are Morlocks. Morlocks.
Morlocks, yes.
Or it really just might have been Pete. I mean, that's interesting. Our two go-to breweries both are owned by Pete's.
This is true.
But Pete may have just liked putting the name Oktoberfest because Bock, because their symbol is a rooster. But so it's got the nice nuttiness of a Marzen, you said, but just a bit sweeter, and I'd have to say it's a little darker than most Marzens.
Really?
Yeah, maybe by 2 points.
You know what? That's odd because Bocks really aren't super dark either. Unless it's like a Weizenbock or a Doppelbock.
Yeah,
but
this is true.
So regular Bock is not dark. Regular Bock is about the same color as a Marzen.
Yeah, but I think they're slightly darker, so this might have a Bock color to it. So,
nice.
At any rate, it's a lovely beer. It's my last one. It's my last Oktoberfest beer, be it a Fest beer or a Marzen.
Yeah, I actually think this is the last Oktoberfest beer I have in my fridge. So.
And this is a Zigmeister.
And this is a Zigmeister. Yes, I'm gonna open this thing right here. Hold on.
So we have a can.
Yes, it's a can. It's a 12-ounce can, as opposed to all the 16s we've been pounding. No pun intended.
So you're drinking Zigmeister. What is the name of this beer?
The name of this beer is Oktoberfest. They went straight forward to the, Go ahead.
Hey, say it as it is.
Say it as it is. Tell it like it is.
I calls them as I sees them.
Tell it like it is. It just reminded me of a movie, too. I don't know why this just popped in my mind. You ever see the movie Only the Lonely?
No.
It was John Candy, Ali Sheedy, Jim Belushi was in it.
Is that when Ali Sheedy is working for the funeral parlor?
Yeah, it's her father's funeral parlor, and John Candy is a cop. And he works with Jim Belushi.
I haven't seen that in forever.
Yeah, and that's what that his mother always says. That she's she always says, "Tell it like it is." That's her thing. She's just telling it like it is all the way through the movie. That just reminded me.
Isn't that also a song?
Tell it like it is.
Yeah,
it was Aaron Neville, I believe, right?
That's the song.
Exactly. I give you anything to get me to sing, Dave. I mean, seriously, that's the second time in this podcast.
Well, we know you like your music. You've been in a few bands. There are some wonderful pictures of Jersey Johnny out there at the keyboards.
This is true. Occasionally a guitar hanging over my shoulder.
And you know what? If we get 1,000 followers of the podcast, I think we can talk John into putting that picture up.
Yes, if once we get 1,000 subscribers and or 1,000 followers on Facebook, I will post pictures of me with a guitar over my shoulder singing.
Oh, I want you at the keyboard too, because I've seen that picture.
I'll post both.
Post both.
There you go. That's the challenge.
There we go.
Go for it, people. Do you really want to see it? Some people might not actually like it, or they actually might take their like away just to make sure I don't post it.
Unliking
exactly. Right we might be screwing ourselves here.
Wow. So we went from 5 followers to 2.
Exactly. My sister unliked it. Damn it.
Well, that was to be expected.
This is true. All right. Well, anyway, I'm drinking an Oktoberfest from Zigmeister. That is the name of the beer, Oktoberfest.
Oh, your father just unliked the page.
Yes, he did. And now we're down to 1. You don't even like it. I'm the only one.
Thanks. Well, so Gene's our only fan now. Nice.
Exactly. All right. Well, all right, folks. Re-like it. I won't post the pictures. There you go. All right, folks. All right. So anyway, I'm drinking Zigmeister Oktoberfest. It's a Marzen again. It's 5.3% is the ABV.
Oh, I beat you on ABV again.
Yes, you did.
On in the podcast, I beat you in the ABV. You usually crush me in the live because I was 6% on the Oktoberfest.
Yeah, sure. All right. It's got a nice malty nose. Hold on, I'm gonna take a sip.
And as he's sipping, we wait in anticipation of his.
Oh, it's nice.
Oh, here we go.
Nice. It's medium bodied. It's light orange. So it's darker than gold, lighter than amber. So I'm gonna say light orange. It's nice and malty, bready. Not super bready, toasty. A little bit of. You know what? I'm looking at the notes that Zig gives. It's they give toasty graham cracker and light honey, and I get that. I do.
Okay.
I'm getting toast. I'm getting bread. But I can taste the toasty graham cracker and the light honey. I can definitely get that. It's nice. It's nice. It's not as malty as a typical as your standard Marzen, if you will. It's where it's getting into the really biscuity, bready caramel malts. But it's nice. It's a little lighter and easy to drink, but it definitely has got a lot of flavor to it. It's nice beer.
Nice.
Nice is a nice word.
It is a nice word.
It's nice to be nice to the nice. That was from something else. That was from a TV show, I think.
Lost me on that one.
A little pop culture. I can't think of it either, but it's nice to be nice to the nice. I'll have to Google that while you're talking about something and see what it is.
Okay, so I'm going to try to fill some space here. And actually, what I might do is, because I'm very close to finishing this one, I may even throw a bonus beer in here tonight. So we'll have to see about that. And I'm trying to figure out what to go with. But I've thought of a challenge for next week. So John's Googling, so I can bring up the challenge without him hearing. And what I'm thinking,
I can still hear you.
Here, oh, you can still hear me. You're just not responding. Okay. So what I think for next week, I think the challenge is for us to drink beers for breweries we have yet to talk about on either the live feed or the live show on Facebook or on the podcast.
Say that one more time. I didn't hear you.
See, so now John has no idea what the challenge is, so I will tell him at 4:30 next week. No, so the challenge, John, is to drink beers from breweries that we have not yet spoken about. But you've got to do it within New Jersey. I've got to do it within Rhode Island.
I can do that. I can definitely do that. Now, that for both the beers or just one? Because I do have a beer that I want to drink next week. I'm not going to talk about it right now. What it is?
No, just one.
Just one. Okay. You got it.
Just one. Because and actually both my beers may be from the same brewery, because if you've I don't know if you've noticed, when we challenge each other, the person doing the challenging already has a beer in mind, so it's more of a challenge to the other person. So like this week's challenge was the sports, and John knew the Eli beer was coming out, and the week prior to that was a Halloween themed beer, and I already had my hands on the Vamp Blood.
I found it.
You found it? Where is it from?
It is a quote from MASH. Frank Burns said, "It's nice to be nice to the nice."
You quoted Ferret Face.
I quoted Ferret Face, yes.
Still one of my favorite programs ever.
I love MASH. What was the first thing that B.J. Honeycutt ever said to Frank Burns?
Yes, I do not know.
He was hammered in the officers' club, and actually he got hammered in the officers' club when Hawkeye picked him up, brought him back, and he was almost half asleep, passed out in the Jeep, and Frank Burns walked up because he was acting commanding officer at the time.
Right.
And BJ said, "What say, Ferret Face?" And he was hammered, so it was pretty good.
So it was Ferret Face.
Yes,
nice. Because he was also, I think some of the other insults to him were, they said he had no lips.
Major Houlihan called him a lipless wonder.
Lipless wonder, which was actually an insult on Larry Linville, because Larry Linville had no lips.
No.
So, but he took it in stride. It's funny because of all the characters on the show, the most lovable character on that show was Radar.
Oh, absolutely.
But the biggest jerk of all the actors apparently was Gary Berghoff.
Well,
definitely one of the best programs that was on at the time. Got me through a lot. Really not sure what it got me through.
Puberty?
I can't say it got me. No, not puberty. That was maybe Policewoman. Oh, Angie Dickinson. Another
There
thing
you
for Angie
go.
Davis. And I also Blair on Facts of Life. For some reason, even she was so bitchy, but there's something about her.
You mean you weren't a Tootie?
No, I was not a Tootie fan. And not a Joe fan either.
I was a Joe fan. Blair was a little too bitchy for me.
Yeah,
Even
I don't
then, she
know.
was a little too bitchy for me.
But we'll move on to beer
We'll move on to beer.
because that's what we talk about here. And I was talking about while you were Googling, which got us on the MASH thing, that I was probably going to open a third beer, just because the first two went down so damn easy. And I don't know, do I stick with Smug here?
Why not? Why don't you find the beer you're gonna have, and I'm
Oh, I
gonna.
already have it.
Oh,
I
well,
have it already. So one of the first beers that I did come across when I first went to Smug, the reason Smug is so dear to me, and you can understand this very, very well. Anybody who's listening is going to understand this too. It was the first place after I moved up here that when I walked in, they knew who I was. I walked in, they said, "Hey, Dave, what are you drinking tonight?" It was the first place up here, and having that kind of familiarity and kind of that sense of, I don't want to use home, maybe it's too strong of a word, but the sense of being or belonging can be very powerful. So very quickly became my favorite brewery because of the warmth of the place. I love the layout of the place. The people there are fantastic, and it doesn't hurt that they make really good beer. So Nemesis being a nice session beer, and I was really getting into not getting myself hammered every night, which is always a good thing. So Nemesis was my go-to then, and still is kind of my go-to. It still is my go-to. But they then released something called Smug Session, which is another session IPA, and they've been rebrewing it. I'm going to open this one up. This one sits at 4.8%, so it's a tenth of a percent lower than Nemesis. It's a little lighter in color. It's got a different nose, and it's also, you can see through it. Surprise, surprise. We're in New England, and there's an IPA that you can see through.
imagine that.
And I Liz poured the hell out of this thing. If you remember from an earlier, that was a Facebook Live when I Liz poured something. Liz pour up in Rhode Island means that you over poured and you've got way too much foam in the damn glass. And I probably have a 60% beer, 40% foam ratio going right now. But we're going to work through the foam for the sake of brevity. This is a drier IPA than Nemesis. Nemesis abounds with fruit, and whereas this does have some fruity characteristics to it, it does have a little bit of it's throwing some of that onion skin, that's sulfuric hop note there. There might be a little pine behind it. It'd be interesting to know what hops he uses in this. It's a much different beer than Session. Session is nice and juicy. This is a drier IPA, but they're both nice and light. So it depends upon what you're eating, which one you really want to go with. Like this one, this is what I probably should have drank with the nachos. But I love them both, and they're both regularly in the fridge at all times. I think I still have one of each left in the fridge. So next time Smug releases another beer, I'll probably have to re-up my 4-packs on both of those.
Probably a good idea.
So
Yeah, that's probably a good idea to get more of the beer you like as much as you do. So,
well, what I'm hoping that Smug comes back with Last Look soon. Last Look. So I think I mentioned this before. Being up in New England, anything that's in an NEIPA tends to be a little overrated. There's a brewery across the border and a little further west in Massachusetts. I won't bring them up because I don't like to, by name, disparage a brewery. But when I did visit them, they're very IPA heavy, and every one of their IPAs had very high ratings. So it's why I went. And it turned out they got very high ratings because they make primarily NEIPAs in New England. So up here, since that's what everybody likes, you tend to have a higher approval rating for these things. Whereas if something is more of a West Coast IPA, you don't see the ratings all that much. So Smug's Last Look, if you look it up on Untapped, it does not have that high. I think it's like a 3.5 something. It's a much better beer than that.
gotcha.
And I think it's not beloved because it's not an NEIPA, but they've rendered a wonderful West Coast style IPA. They've been out of it for a while, and I imagine it's because it's not high up on their brewing list because it's probably not as popular as their NEIPAs.
Right.
Like Driving Miss Hazy. Driving Miss Hazy is an incredibly popular beer up here.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of that, go anywhere this weekend?
And she did. So, okay, as I mentioned earlier, I picked up a couple of Schneider Weiss glasses at an antique shop in Chepachet, Rhode Island, but that was on a trip out into Connecticut to see some of the fall foliage. I wound up at a brewery down in, well, it's near Donaldson. It's part of Donaldson. Donaldson's a bigger, and I forget what the village is. It begins with an L. But knowing we were there, it's like, oh my God, there's a brewery here. And a Black Pond Brewery. And I had an oyster stout there.
Oyster stout. I love oyster stouts.
An oyster stout. And this beer was really, it had that mouthfeel that the calcium from the shells give. Had a little bit of brine to it, not overly briny. A little bit of chocolate note to it. They also had a coffee stout there that was like drinking a coffee with cream in it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was so, Black Pond hasn't been there all that long. It's in an old train station, one of those old small ones, that are long and skinny.
Right.
So if you make it to Route 6 and Route 12 out in Connecticut, just across the Rhode Island border, they're worth the stop, I think.
It sounds like it is.
So
definitely sounds like it is. Myself, as I started saying earlier, I took a ride down to Spellbound down in Mount Holly, New Jersey, and had a couple glasses of beer. Actually, had their pumpkin because the lovely person I was with wanted to order the pumpkin, so I had some of hers.
Hi, Jess.
But I ordered the new anniversary beer, the 2020 anniversary. It's a New England IPA they brewed, so I guess technically it's their second New England that they brewed on that scale. And I brought some home, so it was definitely a really tasty beer. It's definitely got a different flavors and such from the Major Nelson that I had gotten, and that has become my second go-to beer. But I will have one of them in the next couple of weeks. We'll do it on the podcast. So you want to tune into that, but it was good as always. I mean, John and the boys down there, they brew pretty decent quality beer down there, so it's pretty good. And I have a couple of bigger bottles from them, so I might throw one of them on there as well.
And I really got to get back down to Jersey so we can have one epic bottle share.
Absolutely, definitely have to do that soon. So, well, I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, I've just put my the nachos that I did not finish into the oven to warm them back up again, and I'm really anxious to dive face first back into those things.
You're going to want to do that. I, however, am not eating nachos because I have to bail out of this and switch gears and get into sports podcast mode because we start the Facebook Live video in about 12 minutes. So I'm going to bid everybody adieu. And adieu, as Mr. Beer Samurai is as well. Folks, want to thank you for listening to our podcast today. As always, you can check it out on Facebook Live every Wednesday at 5:30. It's our video teaser for our podcast that we wind up doing afterwards, which you're listening to right now. So, and you can check out all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Lager Room. And of course, our website is www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And of course, if you found this podcast on any of those stations or channels, if you will,
services,
that'll work, and you want to do so, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on TuneIn, and also on Stitcher. Folks, subscribe. This way you won't miss any podcasts that we release. Once again, I want to thank everybody for listening to today's podcast. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer. Drink responsibly, but enjoy the beer. And comment in with any of your beer notes. Maybe we'll go ahead and mention those on the podcast or even the Facebook Live.
And feel free to ask us questions because as you learned in this podcast, John is a ferocious Googler and he can find stuff out.
or we may actually know the answer to the question.
There's also a good shot between
already.
The two of us. We may know the answer, right?
Good shot that we may know, unless you're asking us something way off base. But anyway, yeah, ask us any question. Either way, I want to thank you for listening once again, and enjoy the weekend, folks. We will talk to you soon. Take care.
Take care, guys. Bye now.
They found him face down in his waffles, maple syrup dripping from his fake rub. Who did he see when he heard who was there? Now it seems that he shit out of love.